Hi everyone, and welcome to Darlene's Creative Studio. Today we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how I've made my little notebook here. This was day 30 in my 30-day mini notebook challenge. And what the base of this was, 2 5x7 craft envelopes. And to make this one a little thinner, I've actually cut the envelopes back rather than just sliding the envelope in, which the other journals were made like that, and then you glued it and that was your cover. I actually cut this back a little bit and then glued it together to give me a thinner notebook. So what I did is I measured 3.5 inches from the edge to here, and I've made a little mark, and then I've gone ahead and made a line here. And that's my 3.5 inches, and that's going to be where my notebook is going to be. So we go ahead and we mark that off. Then I take my knife, and I'm sure there's an easier way, but this is how I do it. And slide my ruler underneath, and I take my knife, and I just cut along that line. There. It's just awkward to get underneath the envelope and not cut the bottom piece, so I just slide my ruler underneath. And there you go. We'll do that, and we'll cut this one really quickly. Oops, didn't go all the way down. There we go. And another one. There you go. Okay, so then I take my scissors and I just cut this little excess flap off. You don't need that. Okay. Alright. Then, when you slide these inside, and I'm just going to cut this guy back a little bit, he's going on the inside. Then when you slide these inside, that's the width that you're going to get. See? So that's how we're going to glue that. I'm just going to turn this little guy back a smidge so it slides in better. Perfect. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some glue. To the flap. Sorry, I got a little bit of glue on my fingers here. There we go. And you want to glue this now. This part's going to go on the inside. Okay. So then we slide this one inside there and press down. Now on the other side we have this flap here, and I like to give it some stability, but I'm going to cut this point off the same as I did with the other one, just to give it a little more. And then same thing, we're just going to glue this flap down. And you want to make sure you get right to the edges so that the little pieces of paper don't flip up. Okay, so we're going to glue that down. So this is the structure, the outside of your notebook. I'll just turn this guy back a bit. Perfect. Now what you're going to do, once this is dry, you're going to fold this over and get your crease. And that will be the outside. And you can tell when the glue is dry. If you touch the glue, or you touch where you've just glued, and it's still cool, it means the glue is still wet. So just kind of feel it, and you'll tell that it's drying when the glue isn't cool anymore. Okay. So then what we're going to do is fold this over. You're going to take your bone folder and you're just going to make a crease. And that is your notebook. And that's how you just make it a little bit smaller. Now because this is an envelope and it's kind of flimsy, if you're using just paper to cover the outside, I normally take the note cards that are cardstock, and I will normally glue it to this flap here to give it some stability. But because I'm using cardstock paper instead of the just plain paper, it will give it stability. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. So then what we do is we take the measurement of the outside of the book, so it's 4 1/4 by 7 3/16. So what you want to do is you don't want it to go right to the edges because it'll flip up a bit. So I kind of give it a little, so I'm going to say it's going to be 4 1/8 by perhaps 7 inches. So I'm going to take this piece of cardstock and I'm going to cut it to 4 1/4. I'm just going to put it on my cutting machine and I'm going to cut it to, I think I'm going to put it this way, 4 1/4. So when I put it on, it gives it just a little 1/8 around the edges. And then we want it to be at 7. There we go. So there is your outside cover. So you're going to cut another one for the back. So 4 1/4 by 7. And there you go. So then we're going to glue this on. That's your front cover. And again, you want to make sure you get right to the edges of the paper so that it doesn't lift up. Now you can use two-sided tape if you like. I'm just going to go ahead and use the Fabri-Tac glue. And right to my edges. There we go. And we're going to glue that on there. And I'm going to use squeegee and I'm just going to pull it. And I try to make sure I go right to the edges. Make sure we don't have any excess glue oozing up the sides. There we go. And I'm going to do the same to the back. We're going to glue the paper. There, and then we're going to glue this on. And that covers up that little outside flap. And right to the edges, and that just smooths it on. So there's our front and back cover, and it gives it that little bit more stability using the cardstock. You can use paper, but you do have to add something on the inside just to give it a little stability. There's my notebook. Now for the inside, I think with this one I did the flap and then I added all the excess stuff on top and then added this afterwards. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to use some, let's see what we need for this one. We need 3 1/4 by the 7. I don't know if I have enough of this. Not for that one. Let's see. I'll try it with this one. 3 1/4, so we only need 3 1/4. So for this particular one, on this side, I'm going to use this one, and then we want it up to 7, right? So there we go. That's going to go like that. And then for the other side, I think I'm going to use up some of my scraps that I have. I'm going to use this one, 3 1/4. And we need 7. So cut that off. And we need 7. Okay, and then I have this one for this side. Got a bit of glue there. There we go. Okay, and we're going to glue that onto the inside flap, and this will give the, like I say, the envelope or the notebook cover more stability. Sorry, I keep holding this really close to the camera. All right. You want to get right to those edges so that the flaps don't come up. Okay. And we're going to put that one on there. Smoother and just smooth that out. Perfect. We'll do the other side. Really make sure we do those edges. Okay. And we'll do this side. There we go. Make sure you get those corners. Okay. Now I have these excess pieces from what I cut off from the edges, and I'm going to use those as my pockets on this side. So there's one. And this one, let's see. That one can go on this side. Okay, let me cut back a bit. Okay, so those can be for our little side pouches here. And what I do is I round the edge. I'm just going to bring my rounding corner punch. So we've rounded the corners. There. And let's make them the same length, just for some continuity. There we go. Okay. Now, if we want to make these into the, sorry, my glue's oozing here, into the business card slot, what I do is I just measure up about 2 inches. Because you want to see where the business card is going to sit. So let's see about there. So yeah, so about 2 inches up, we're going to make a line. And a business card is 2 inches by 3.5 inches. I don't know if this will work. Oh, there you go. Close enough. So you want to make that in the middle. Let me move this other way. You want to make this in the middle, and you want it to go down there. So you want to make sure that your business card, your line, is wide enough. So I make some little dots. So when I cut that line, I'm going to go to the dots. going to move it up to half an inch, and I'm just going to cut it again. There you go. And that's your little slot for your business card. Now you can make it a little wider, which I like to do so you can see them. And then you just cut there, and cut there. And see, it gives you a little space to slide your business card in. Like that. Perfect. So we're going to bring this back over, and you can slide your business card in there. And if you make this a pocket, you can still put your business card in, but you can still slide a tag in the back. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to glue this on. Glue the pocket on, just around the edges, like that. And then your business card will just slide in there. So let's do that with the other side. About 2 inches up. And it's going to be right on that line, so it's perfect. And then we're going to take our business card, and we're going to put it about the middle there. And that is where you're going to cut your line. And we'll go just a little past because you want to make sure the card will slide in there, and then you just move it down a hair and cut it. Cut this way and this way. And you take that little piece out. And there you go. Get your business card slot. And we're just going to glue the edges here. It's funny when you get to the end of the glue how it keeps overflowing at the end. When you get down to a quarter bottle of glue, I find it keeps overflowing on me. Okay, and we're going to set that there. So now we have our 2 business card pockets. Perfect. And then we can still slide a larger tag or another business card in here at the back. So there's our 2 pockets there. Then I use my little envelopes, and I did have these mini craft envelopes with cards, and I just glued them onto the top. You can glue them onto the side, whichever way you want the card to flip. But when I was making, cutting up some old books, I made these little envelopes from book pages. So I'm actually going to use these, and then it has a little note card inside. So for this one, it will go here. And I'm going to glue the flap down, and then my little, what do I want it to say? Let's see. You can tuck it in this way. I think I'm going to do it this way. Okay, so we're going to glue that flap down. You can just paper clip them in and just have them as a, removable. Whatever you like. Okay, so we're going to glue that flap down. Right there. And then I have some ivory cardstock that I like to use. See, and then our little note card can just slide right in there like that. And it closes. Perfect. Now I'm going to take some of my cardstock here. And I'm just going to measure and maybe 3 inches. I'm going to cut this to 3 inches. And we're going to put a little piece of cardstock inside for writing on. So let's say we're going to go to maybe there. Which is, let's see, 3 1/4 inches there. So there, we're going to have a little piece of cardstock right there, and I'm just going to glue that on, so that's another little journaling spot. And I like to round out my corners. There we go. And I'm just going to adjust this really quickly. And sometimes when you cut the edges on a cutter, the edges seem to turn up a little bit, and I just take my bone folder and I just kind of rub along the edges to get rid of that little, where the paper kind of turns up a little bit after the cut, so you don't have that little lip. Okay, so then we're going to just glue that there, and that will be our little journaling spot. I don't know why I did both sides, but I did. Okay. Do that. Go. And we're just going to glue that little piece down there. So there's a little tuck spot there. You have your journaling card. Let's pull this down just a smidge. You want to make sure you're able to fold your card down without it sticking up. So make sure it's not right up against where your note card is there. See? There we go. Now if you want to, you can actually cover the front of this little note card with some paper as well. And that would be about 1, 2, 3, 4, 7/8 and 2 and yes. 2 5/8. Let's try that. Let's see. Yep. And then if the easiest way I do it is just hold it there and go. And I know. And I can just cut it instead of having to measure it exactly. Just make a little tip. And there you go. And that can be glued on the front, and then that way you can still journal on the front of the envelope as well, rather than just having it sitting there and not using it. You want to have journaling spots or tucks or on every spot you can find. And these would be great. I have one little notebook that I keep in my purse, and it has all my bank card codes and my website, and it has all my addresses, even though they're in my phone. Sometimes you go in somewhere and you can't get it to come up, or you forgot your phone in the car. I always keep this little notebook in my purse, and it has all my kids' addresses, my sister's addresses, so that I can, if I'm going to mail them a letter or have to put